AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's rock!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Murray.
Murray, present.
Ooh. Musa. Todd Peterson.
Ted Peterson.
Justice. See?
We got rid of that one. Yes, we did. It was a collective decision.
Mr. Toby Topley. Such a shame. Thought you were on one, didn't you? You thought you were on one. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Bill Belichick was not a first ballot Hall of Famer to the NFL. I figured, you know what we'll do? We should probably talk to a Hall of Famer to get their opinion on that. So Kevin Mawae is going to be here in 13 minutes. I was like, hey, I know a Hall of Famer. So I called Kevin, and he's like, yeah, I'll come on the show. Great. So we'll talk to him in a smidge. Jeff Duncan next hour. Ross Jackson in hour 3. Other stuff, too. Let's go. Let's do what we do every single day. Hit it.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
That was a thing I was supposed to say. I don't know what it doesn't matter. All right. So, fair warning. I might need a moment. Not today. Eventually. I need to prepare myself for what I won't call as an inevitability, but certainly a possibility of a guy who was in my top 3 all-time favorite New Orleans Saints, along with Drew Brees and Dalton Hilliard, possibly not being a New Orleans Saint anymore. I'm just cutting myself open. I'm emoting to you. I'm bleeding emotionally here. Demario Davis was on Up and Adams with Kay Adams earlier today and said this.
Yeah, I'm coming back to the NFL. I'm coming back to the NFL, you know, and I'm excited about that. I am super excited about that. You know, I keep training all the way through the Super Bowl, so my body feels great. I'm just excited for the offseason and to do it all over again. And however that plays itself out, we shall see.
So Kay challenged him quite a bit there, and Demario would not commit to being back with the New Orleans Saints, and just that he's coming back to the NFL. And that makes me really sad. She did ask him, you know, if he went into free agency. So Demario is an unrestricted free agent. So he is free to sign with whomever he wants once the NFL league year begins. And she did ask him what's interesting to him in free agency.
As I'm watching these playoff games, and Brandon and I kind of talk about this a lot, is I'm looking at some of these defenses, and we live in an offensive, really loaded game. I think a lot of the defenses are one good player away from taking that next step as a defense. Some of these end of the game drives, they just shouldn't be happening to these defenses. You really need that general in the middle that can see that. And some of these guys, they have young players, and so some of these defenses just need a guy that can help their young guys take that next step. You know, how does like a Kool-Aid Isaiah McKinstry take that next step? How does an Alontae Taylor go from good to being great? They have to have a veteran that helps them take that next step. And I think that's what I'm noticing on a lot of these defenses. They don't have that. That's why I think I bring the most value. Everybody may need your service, but somebody may need your service more. That's how I kind of look at it.
Shame on me. I guess I just sort of assumed that Demario would finish his career in New Orleans, probably based on the convo that Demario and I had last year on Radio Row at Super Bowl. By the way, I will just say that if Demario Davis leaves, that would be the saddest free agent departure of my life as a sports fan. I love Demario Davis. Drew Brees is the greatest free agent acquisition in Saints history. He's the greatest player in Saints history. No one will deny that. We'll find out at NFL Honors next week that Drew Brees will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He changed the franchise, the city, the state. He is Drew Brees. Like that, he will never. That is a different standard. But next on the list is Demario Davis. Those are the two greatest free agent signings in Saints history. Demario Davis. I wear a Man of God headband in my home on football Sundays in honor of Demario Davis. I literally talked to him last year at Super Bowl Radio Row about the arm sleeve that he wears, like the white and gold one is so fire. And he said he would get me one. And he told his minion that was walking around with him to make sure that he got me one, and the minion didn't get me one. So if I see Demario at Radio Row next week at Super Bowl, I am going to remind him of that. Look, there it is right there. Can you just go full screen with that, Paulie, so everybody can see the glory, the beauty of that, the white and gold arm sleeve? It's so good. This man just turned 37 years old a couple of weeks ago. January 11th, he turned 37. And he just set a career high in tackles with 143. Besting the career high in tackles he set last year. Last 2 years, he has set and broken his career tackles record. Part of me gets it. He's 37. He wants to win and make the most amount of money. So you go where someone's either going to pay you the most or you have the best chance to win. I get it. The reason that throws me off a little is because this is an excerpt of the convo that I had with Demario last year, Radio Row at the Super Bowl, when I asked him how much longer he wants to play.
My goal is to do 3 more years, then I'm out of here, and I'm not planning on no drop-off going out of here. I would love to bring a Super Bowl to New Orleans, and that's what my focus is. And how do we get back to dominant defense and bring that Super Bowl here? And I believe that can be done inside of 3 years, and you want to go out on top. I mean, it can happen anytime. You know, it's like a guy says, it's time to go home, I'm going home. But I have to have my mindset to where it's like I'm not slowing down. I'm not trying to go out on the decline. I'm trying to go out on the incline. So I have to set if it's only 1 year left, I have to be able to see, additional year. Like I'm going to ball out this year and come back the next year. I can't be like, oh, this is the final. If anybody's like, this is the last year, you're not going to give it everything you got. Like you're going to be thinking about what's next.
I mean, he said point blank 3 years because he thinks that's what it's going to take to get New Orleans back to a Super Bowl. And he wants to get New Orleans back to a Super Bowl. I mean, that's what he said last year. And so that's just been my assumption that he would remain here. For whatever it's worth, Spotrac has the calculated market value for Demario Davis, a 1-year deal, $9.4 million, 9.478. So I think the Saints would absolutely do a 1-year, $9.5 million contract for Demario Davis. That makes too much sense for everything he's meant to your organization. I think the real question is, number one, how many teams would do a multi-year deal for Demario? Last year, he said he wanted to play 3 more. Now that means he would play 2 more seasons. Well, is someone going to sign him to a multi-year deal? Someone would certainly sign him to a multi-year deal, especially if it's a team that's going to add Demario Davis to the middle of a defense and try to go on a Super Bowl run. So is there a team that would commit a multi-year deal to Demario Davis on a playoff team? Like what if it's Buffalo? What if it's the Rams? What if it's Seattle or New England, or name any contending team right now that has those pieces in place? It would make sense for Demario Davis. Like I get all of that. And he's obviously still productive. 136 tackles in 2024, 143 tackles this year. And I'm not latching on to a declining player because of the emotional tie. Some free agents walk and that happens. I mean, I've loved watching Chauncey Gardner-Johnson play for the Saints, but I get, why they dealt him. They let Marcus Williams walk, Mark Ingram, Reggie Bush, Jermon Bushrod, Teron Armstead. We've seen great players in this organization walk in the past, and it's part of it. It would hit differently if it's Demario Davis. This is not one I thought we were going to be tracking as far as a free agent that would be on his way out of New Orleans. But this is one we're clearly going to have to watch, as Demario Davis spoke with Kay Adams earlier on Up and Adams on Wednesday. So that's one that Mickey Loomis and his staff are going to have to get to work on, see if they can keep their captain inside linebacker in New Orleans for the rest of his career. And if not, what does that mean? Are you looking at extending Pete Werner? Do we start to see a rapid escalation of a guy like Danny Stutzman? Are you going into free agency to sign a linebacker if you lose Demario? It's a conversation I did not think we were going to be having this offseason, but clearly we are. And I don't blame him. If you got 2 more years left to play, go maximize your financial opportunity and your opportunity to win a championship. And that's apparently what Demario Davis is looking to do. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of Super Bowl 60. If you're going to be watching Super Bowl 60 a week from Sunday, make sure you got plenty of delicious ice-cold Bud Light in the cooler, in the fridge. If you're going to be watching at your favorite bar, watering hole, restaurant, make sure you ask for it by name, bottle, can, or draft. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. Okay, the gigantic story over the weekend, the gigantic story over the last 24 hours, Bill Belichick not going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. So we'll ask a Hall of Famer for reaction to that. Kevin Mawae joins us next at AFR.
AFR.
REV. Let's Rev. Let'sRev.com. 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 REV. Let'sRev.com. 70,000 home and business owners in the southern part of our state trust Rev. You should too. Why? Look at what happened just this week. With the ice storm that came through, knocked out power in a lot of different places. You were without power, you were without internet. Well, you wouldn't be if you had Rev. Why? Because Rev is backed by an all-fiber network. So that fiber is buried under the ground. So you don't have to worry about tree limbs snapping, falling on power lines, internet lines, knocking out the internet. Oop, it's buried under the ground. So you never have to worry about it. You'll have high-speed internet always, your home or your business. Time to switch, y'all. A great local company. It's Rev, R-E-V. Let'sRev.com.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
The people that did not vote Bill Belichick as a first ballot Hall of Famer should have their voting rights taken. And hopefully this brings a greater light to the voting process of the National Football League and the Hall of Fame. This 50-person committee or whatever it is that does this by secret ballot and however they do this thing, it's time to bring some light on it.
That's Booger McFarland, his reaction on a Sports Center to the news that Bill Belichick is not going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And there's obviously been a ton of reaction to this. Okay. So I thought earlier today, I'd probably like to ask a Hall of Famer. So I was like, I know one. So reached out to Kevin Mawae, of course, Pro Football Hall of Famer, and he's good enough to join us here on the show. Yo, man, how are you?
I'm doing great, Matt. How are you, buddy?
Doing really good, man. Always good to hear your voice. Appreciate you for taking the time today, man. Let's just start with a reaction to Bill Belichick not being a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Asinine, ridiculously asinine. For anybody to not vote him in, the guy's won more Super Bowls than any other head coach in the NFL. Arguably the best coach that's ever coached a game, and for him not to get in is just absolutely ridiculous.
Do you think that Spygate, Deflategate, if that had anything to do with it, if that's warranted?
Yeah, I've read some of the articles, and I guess that's what's being floated out there. But my thing is this: getting voted and elected into Hall of Fame there's no morality clause in it. Either you're the best or you're not. And I thought about this. I know we talked a little bit briefly before, but like Reggie Bush, he won the Heisman Trophy, and then you took it away from him. Not because he wasn't the best player in college football, but because some morality clause that he broke a rule or whatever. But the reality was he was the best player in college football in that year, and you punished him for something that had nothing to do with him being the best college football player in the country that year. This is akin to that. The best professional NFL coach that's ever been in the game in the last 40 years that we can all talk about. And for him not to get in because somebody has a beef against him because of Spygate and Deflategate, I think it's just ridiculous. I think it's petty, and I think it's a huge, huge mistake.
You're part of the Gold Jacket Club. A lot of people have suggested that this decision sort of cheapens or lessens the Hall of Fame or the honor. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't know who the blue ribbon is for the 50 coaches and contributors or stuff like that. I don't know if it's the same voters that vote for the Gold Jacket, the players that are Hall of Famers. I don't know. Don't know how that works. But I think the idea that the best coach of our generation not to get in on the first ballot is a travesty of the process. And whether it's because somebody had a beef or because, like I read a comment that they suggested that maybe Bill Polian said that, he had to wait a year just as punishment for those two things, as if $1 million and losing draft picks wasn't enough. So I don't know. I think it's petty, and it's personal vendettas being doled out over something that should have been handled a long time ago.
Hey, can you, and Kevin Mawae is our guest, Pro Football Hall of Famer, can you shed any light on, to the best you know, on this process?
Well, the way I understand it, and I can only speak from how the players are selected. I know there was a concern years ago that the Hall was becoming the Hall of Very Good, not the Hall of the Greatest Ever. And so there's more input from the players about who they felt were Hall of Fame worthy kind of guys. And they have more of a voice in that process. And of course, now you got James Lofton as the former player who's a Hall of Famer, who's in the media that actually has a vote in the room for the players. And again, you get your list of 125 and the players talk about, okay, who do I think was going to be in there? Like say there's 50 players, 50 Hall of Famers or whatever, a blue ribbon of NFL players. They're like, these are the 125 guys, these are the top 50 that I believe belong in it. And then it's out of your hands after that, because then you got the sports writers and the journalists and all the beat writers for the teams and stuff like that. So there gets a point to where you don't know who's voting for those last 50 or the last 25 and the last 15, and then finally who gets in. And even when my process went through, I don't know who voted for me or who didn't vote for me. I had one reporter called the year I got in. One of them called me, which that was a mistake in itself, because at the time you got a phone call to say you didn't get in, and then he goes, "We gave it our best shot." I'm like, "What the hell does that mean? Like, you gave it your best shot? Am I in or am I not in?" And so I had to sit for another 30 minutes before I got the knock from David Baker, and so I don't know. But at the end of the day, whether I got in by the skin of my teeth or I got in, that's what everybody says in the Hall of Fame is you got in. It doesn't matter if you were the last in or the first in. The doctor finishes last in his medical class. He's still called the doctor. The same thing with Gold Jackets.
That's so funny, man. We talked so much to you throughout that process when you got the knock. And you had to wait your turn. But I didn't know you got a call.
Yeah, it was one of our beat writers from New York. He calls me up. I'm sitting there. Okay, I went through the process at the Houston Super Bowl, the Minneapolis Super Bowl, where I'm waiting around and I get a phone call. Hey, Kevin, this is not your year. Statistically, if you make it to the semifinal or to the finalist list within 3 years, you're going to get in, blah, blah, blah. And then they whisk you out of your room down the back hallway. And we called it the loser's bus, because from there you go straight to the NFL awards, the ESPN award show. And you don't know who made it, but when you get on the loser's bus, you look around and be like, oh, these 5 guys aren't on this bus. Those are the guys. That's when you find out as a loser who got in. And so my third year, now we're in Atlanta, and I'm waiting around, and it's like, okay, I've gotten notified earlier these last 2 years, and then in Atlanta, I get a phone call. I looked at my wife, my heart sank. I was like, oh, this sucks. And then he goes, we did our best. I'm like, what does that even mean? I mean, are you letting me know ahead of time before I get the call that I'm not getting in? And then like 20 minutes later, I get a knock on the door, and so I'm like, you don't ever do that. You know what I mean? So
who was it? Who was the writer? Just say it. Come on.
No, I'm honest to goodness. I see his face, but I can't get his name.
Oh, that's okay. Okay. No worries.
But like I lived in New York. We had like 15 beat writers, so it's not like we had one guy.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But I'm seeing his face right now.
No, it's so good.
The name can't come up.
I just think.
But my thing. At the end of the day, nobody cares if you got in. If it took you 10 years or 15 years. Drew Pearson got in 2 years ago, and he was mad at the world when I watched media stuff because I can't believe they did this to me. But you know what? He's a Hall of Famer now. He's got a gold jacket, and nobody talks about how he didn't get in. Everybody talks about why he's in. And that'll happen with Coach Belichick. But for him not to get in on the first ballot, that's crazy. For Tom Brady should get in on the first ballot. Drew Brees should get in on his first ballot. This is his year. He should get in. And but the thing is, great players know great players, and that's the way it should be. And never hold it against the guy just because you didn't like the way he played, or because you didn't like the way he said in the media about you or somebody else, or God forbid, somebody still signs on the sideline. That's one game or one season and out of 5 Super Bowl seasons. I mean, it's not like the guy couldn't coach. It's like he was the best coach ever. And the reality is he probably was other coaches are probably doing the same thing. He just happened to get caught for it. Such is the case in the NFL,
Jimmy Johnson has been pretty vocal on Twitter, said the same thing today, Kev. Like, he's like, we did it. He's like, we had a guy who worked under Polian, who's the one who showed us how to do it. Like, it didn't do us any good, so we stopped doing it. It is interesting. But no, go ahead.
I think for me, reading the articles and Polian's name being tied to all this, being about the guy who pushed the narrative, I don't know if he was or he doesn't, but I do know this about my time in the NFL. If there's smoke, there's fire. It's always that way. If you hear about you getting traded, start looking for another team because you're going to get cut soon. If you think they're trying to get rid of you, know that there's somebody's talking about it in the back rooms. And if somebody said something in a closed-door meeting in the NFL and you're trying to say that didn't happen, the chances are it's pretty sure that somebody mentioned it, and you're just trying to cover for everybody now. And so that's been my experience in the NFL. If there's smoke, there's fire. Somebody in there campaigned against Belichick. Don't know who it was, but whoever it was, it's just the most asinine thing I've ever heard of in this process.
Kevin Mawae is with us. You did mention it being Breeze's year. Breeze, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, Eli Manning, some of the other finalists among the 15 finalists. What do you think about this year's group of finalists?
I think it's a great class. I love Luke Kuechly. I think he's a great player. I always admired him. I don't know if he came in after I left or if we, crossed up at the end of my career, but I always felt like he was one of the best linebackers in the game. Drew Brees, hands down, first ballot Hall of Famer. Not real keen on Eli being a Hall of Famer. I think there's other guys that, I know he's won 2 Super Bowls, but you got to look at his surrounding cast. It's not just about him, so Fitzgerald, 100%. It's all, it's easy for guys like that when you talk about years of service, stats compared to the other great players and stuff like that. It gets a little bit more subjective when you're talking about offensive linemen. Was he that good? Did he really change the game? And I've always been a proponent of guys that changed the way you had to prepare for the game as a game planner and that kind of stuff. Like if you had this is the guy you had to worry about, you changed the whole game plan based on him, and that guy's probably worthy of it. If he was just another guy just racked up numbers, but you weren't game planning around him, then he was just a good player. That's just kind of been my mentality. But again, I don't have a vote, so it is what it is.
Maybe you should.
I do vote for the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame.
Love that.
So I got to vote in that, and I got to vote in the Polynesian Player of the Year and then Polynesian NFL Player of the Year. So I got a little say in some of that, but one of 35 or 50 votes or whatever. So, I get my little push in there.
Hey, man, before you go, we're also going to see Pat Seahawks. We saw this Super Bowl 11 years ago. It was the 2014 season. Sam Darnold and Drake May, right? Just like we all drew it up. What do you think about this game coming up a week from Sunday?
Who's Drake May?
Right?
Sam Darnold still playing?
Yeah, right. Why?
No, you know what? I'm excited for
Who's
the
Drake
Patriots.
May?
I'm excited about the Patriots only because I'm a huge Mike Vrabel fan as a coach. Hated playing against him as a player. We served together in the union, and he's a great leader. I knew he was a great leader at that time. But to see what he's done with that team in 1 year and get him to buy in and that kind of stuff, for me, because I'm a former Titan as well, a huge disappointment that they let him go. I think, now Titans are going after the next coach, the two coaches after Vrabel. And so I think it was a big mistake for the Titans to let him go. But happy for him and what he's doing. And it's the Patriot way. It's like you don't get a bunch of superstar guys. You just get a bunch of really good players that buy into what you're trying to do. And that's always been their MO. That was Bill Belichick's MO, and I know that's what Vrabel's MO is. And, and happy for the Seahawks guys. I'm happy for Sam Darnold. He has a long career. And for me, it's always like the system makes a difference for especially a quarterback. You can be the greatest quarterback in the world in the worst system or not messing with your coordinator, and you look like just an average Joe. But you find the right guy, the right coach who understands your capabilities and surround him with the right kind of players, and watch a guy do something special. And that's what's happening with Sam Darnold. So I'm happy for him. But, unfortunately, I got to go for the Pats on this one.
Hey, man, I hope to see you soon. And if not before then, if Drew is in the Hall of Fame, I'm sure we'll be in Canton doing broadcasts. So we'll look for you there. But hopefully before then, man. We got to do this more often, man. We appreciate the time.
No doubt. I just want to give a shout-out to Lane Kiffin and what he's getting ready to do down there. I think it's been amazing. As a former Tiger, always a Tiger, but a former player there, couldn't be more excited about what's going to happen in Tiger Town this year. So
you met him yet?
Go Lane Kiffin. I've probably met him in the past. I have not met him since he's been the head coach at LSU. I haven't been down there. So I'm about to come by, stop by, bring some donuts, and say what's up to the staff.
Right. You have to have played against him when he was with the Raiders. I mean, it was a short stint, but I mean,
I don't remember. When was he with the Raiders? I mean,
he was there when they drafted Jamarcus. So the 2007 season, you would have been. Were you with the Jets or the Titans in 2007?
No, I was with the Titans at the time.
Yes, you were in the AFC. Then. I mean, you had to have run across him.
Yeah, I guess I probably did. But I didn't meet him at the time. I probably know his dad more than I know him.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I mean, look, Lane and I are the same age. Just saying.
Oh man, he's 50. He was born in 75, so he's 50.
Okay, so he's younger than me. I just turned 55 last week.
And he's dude, belated happy birthday, man. See, look, now we're just like now you and I are just talking, man. Wait, let's see. He was with the Raiders. He was in Oakland in 07 and 08, so 2 seasons, 07, 08.
Yeah, I guess I would have played against them.
Yeah.
I'm saying those are my last 2 years. 07 was my second year in Tennessee. 08 was my third year. That was we were 13-3 that year. So we played against them. We probably beat them.
Well, of course you beat them. Everybody beat them. I mean, let's see. I'm looking right now. You did play the Raiders. You played the Raiders in Week 8 of 07, and you beat them 13-9.
All right, yeah.
A barn burner.
I would guess that 13-9. I would guess that. Trying to think, Travis Henry ran it up on him. I would guess.
I'm pulling up the box score. I mean, why not? So you won that game 13-9. Let's see, box score. Vince Young. How about this stat line for your guy? 6 of 14 for 42 yards passing in the win.
That's what happens when you say thanks for the best line ever.
No. Oh, Fred, it's thanks for the block. Is what it is.
There you go. That's what it is.
It is, Kevin. That is still in my office, man. It is such a conversation piece. I'm telling you, like it is in my office next to my desk. Like I tell people the story all the time. So One of my most prized possessions, quite honestly. So I'm glad one man's trash, another man's treasure.
Hey, you always have a story. You can have the worst guest come in the studio on the show and be like, "Yeah, hey, what do you think about this picture?" And tell them the story. So,
oh man, hey, we got to run. Thanks, dude. Thanks for the time, man. I appreciate you as always.
Always a blessing, man. You take care and go Tigers and go Patriots, I guess.
Yeah, man. All right, we'll see you soon. That's Hall of Famer Kevin Mawae. It's after further review. For those that don't know the story about Thanks for the Block, let me break. I'll come back. I'll tell you that real quick. We'll go around the SEC.
After further review.
We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. In the market for a new vehicle, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer is South Point Volkswagen. Remember, not just new vehicles, but they got a great certified pre-owned selection as well. So maybe you want to buy a used car. Okay, great. Matt, but I'm not really interested in a used Volkswagen. No worries. You can go to the website, southpointvw.com, hit the used car tab at the top. And remember, because over at South Point, they sell more Volkswagens than anybody else, they get more trade-ins. And so it's all different makes and models. Go hit the used tab and you'll see all the hit search inventory. And you can search by year, make, model, body, style, price, all that. And they do have pre-owned Volkswagens, but they got all different makes and models as well. Like there's a Audi Q3, a 2021 Audi Q3, a 2020 Subaru Outback. Check out southpointvw.com.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Thanks again to Kevin Mawae. So, one of the first rules in media is you should never have an inside joke from your audience. If you're not familiar with the story that Kevin was just telling, so when Vince Young was in Tennessee and won Offensive Rookie of the Year, it is customary that the quarterback would give the offensive line a gift, right? Like you'll see watches, or I think Joe Burrow gave his offensive line like ATVs or something like that, or luggage. You get it, right? I mean, normally the quarterback will give their offensive line a gift. So Kevin Mawae, who at this point in his career is on his way to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So this was 2007. I guess would have been the year 2007. Or maybe it's a Pro Bowl year, whatever. Anyway, so Vince Young wins Rookie of the Year, and his thank you gift to the offensive line. So Vince Young was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. He got the cover of Sports Illustrated blown up to like poster board size on like a hardback, like what'd you call that, like foam board, like a foam board, a giant foam board of the SI cover, and he autographed it. And it says, "To Kevin, thanks for," the numeral 4, "thanks for the block." Singular. One block. And he gave them some of his trading cards as well. So he gave them an autographed foam board poster and Vince Young football cards. That's what he gave his offensive line when he won Rookie of the Year. So Kevin Mawae told the story. He just had this thing in his attic. I was like, oh my God, I want it. And so he brought it up. He's like, "You're gonna have fun." So it literally sits in my office, and I adore it. It's one of the most the least self-aware things you could possibly imagine in life, and you wonder why Vince Young's career went the way it did. Like that is a great embodiment of why Vince Young's career went the way that it did. While some quarterbacks get their offensive line vacations and diamond watches or whatever, Vince Young is giving them an autographed poster of himself. Sure. Got it, Vince. Thanks. Fantastic. So I have that wonderful piece of history. And maybe one day if I fall in really hard times, I'll go on Pawn Stars and go sell it at the pawn shop in Las Vegas. It's got to be worth something. Tank of gas. We're brought to you by Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com, windows, door siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters too. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. They do it all. They do it better than anyone. They're Relief Windows. Temps been in the 20s the past few nights. You know, you walk into a room and you feel how drafty it is when it's cold outside. That's because you've got windows that are leaking. You have costly air leaks. It's allowing that cold air in. That's why you need energy-efficient replacement windows from Relief Windows. They measure twice, install once. The custom windows are made for the exact specification of your home. It's Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Give them a buzz at 288-8138, 288-8138, 288-8138, or reliefwindows.com. And remember, they will never take a dollar from you. They do not take a down payment. They will never take a dollar from you until they're done and you're thrilled. It's Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Auburn Tigers.
Auburn defensive tackle Dallas Walker has been granted an extra year of eligibility for 2026. He will be a seventh-year player next fall. His career began at Texas A&M back in the COVID year, redshirted in 2021, and then didn't play football in 2022 when he enrolled at Texas A&M. So the Auburn defensive tackle will be in his seventh year in 2026.
The Texas Longhorns.
Texas has landed a commitment from Cameron Hall, an in-state edge rusher. Hall chose the Longhorns over LSU, Michigan, Oklahoma, Texas Tech, and others. 6'3", 235. He's the number 27 edge rusher in the country. Fourth commit for Texas's 2027 class.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Stanford expected to hire Alabama assistant defensive line coach Jamie Mosley. Pete Thamel, the first to report it. Mosley played at Alabama, you may remember, in the 20-teens, part of two national championship teams. That's C.J. Mosley's brother, by the way, if you're not familiar. So he's worked with defensive line coach Freddie Roach the past few seasons. Mosley's the third Alabama coach to lead the staff this offseason.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
And on the diamond, Carolina's ace, Jake McCoy, he is out for the 2026 season. Tore his UCL during a scrimmage on January the 22nd. Left the scrimmage after his second inning of work. He called out pitching coach Terry Rooney to the mound, seen by the trainer, and now the diagnosis. McCoy has 26 appearances, 15 starts, 14 of them in his sophomore season. He was projected to be Paul Maneri's Friday night guy this season, the number 63 draft prospect by MLB Pipeline, but his season is over before it starts. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. Hump Day shows are brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Hormone replacement therapy, peptides like BPC 157. I was over at Goodwood earlier today chatting with Gabe, telling you, man, you want to feel your best here in 2026. They can help. yourgoodwood.com. All right, it is after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. No Taylor today. We'll hope to. We'll actually won't have Taylor next week either because we'll be out at Super Bowl Radio Row. So we'll get caught up with Taylor for a Bourbon Dictionary a few weeks from now. But we'll grab a quick break, come back, and wrap up hour number one next.
After further review.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. You know what to do. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. Let's talk about some of the great testimonials they have over at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You can go to the website and learn more about that. But this was an incredible one. This was a firm-wide, record-setting workers' comp settlement. Attorney Annabelle Manning, unbelievable, $2.53 million in a workers' comp settlement. So congrats to the team over at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. It's Gordon, his team of attorneys all over the state of Louisiana. So we talk about it often. It's not just car wrecks or big truck wrecks. It's workers' comp. It's any type of injury. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. You can trust the team at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys to get the most for you, to get what you're entitled to get your life back as normal as it can be. So you know what to do. GetGordon.com. Get Gordon. Get it done.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
For sure, always grateful for the opportunity to come out here and compete with the best and showcase what I can do and just keeping my best foot forward and just attacking every day like it's my last and just perfecting my craft.
It's LSU receiver Barrion Brown. He was on off the bench this morning from the Senior Bowl there in Mobile. Again, Hester and Flynn been broadcasting from Mobile all week. Tomorrow will be the last day they broadcast. They'll come home after the show Thursday, be back in studio on Friday. But Barry and Brown's had a good run of it so far. Highly recommend you follow 104.5 ESPN on social media. Alondra's there doing great work, getting a lot of this content together as well. So videos from practice, a lot of the interviews and stuff like that. This is one snapshot she took of the scoreboard there at the stadium. Barry and Brown, after day one of practices, was the overall speed leader. He reached 20.35 miles per hour on the field. Ted Hurts, wide receiver from Georgia State, was next. Julian Neal, the running back from Arkansas. Kevin Coleman from Missouri. Dalen Everett from Georgia. But Barry and Brown, we know he's fast, and certainly evidence of it. The other thing I thought that was really interesting, if you look at the air distance for the longest air distance for the quarterbacks, the ball thrown, like how far was the ball thrown during practice, Garrett Nussmeier had the top distance at 51.5 yards and the fastest initial airspeed at 74.9 miles per hour. Taylor Green from Arkansas had the highest initial rotation. So, Garrett Nussmeier getting out there, being healthy, spinning it. He told the guys yesterday he's feeling more like himself, and sort of evidence there. We've talked about Nuss kind of feeling like he's the guy with the most to gain, certainly of the LSU players, maybe in this entire draft. I don't think that that's necessarily hyperbole. I mean, this is a guy that came into this past season as the betting favorite for the Heisman Trophy right there with Cade Klubnik and Arch Manning, was the leading returning passer in college football. Many had as a projected first-round pick. He was limited in whatever capacity, didn't have a great year, missed the final month of the season, and now has to go back and prove it. So he has a lot to gain here in this pre-draft process and doing his best. Barry and Brown, by the way, did also talk. I thought it was interesting because Nuss at the podium. Alondra just posted this. Well, Muse, I don't know if you have it, if you could play it. But we'll get that in a second. First, this was Barry and Brown talking about going through a coaching change during his 1 year at LSU.
Honestly, nothing ever changed for me. Coach Wilson did a great job stepping in and getting us fired up and, just leading us out there each and every week, knowing there was people doubting us and he say, she say. But it was a great experience to see that, and I love BK. Unfortunately, the cookie didn't crumble for us how we wanted it to, but then again, that's life. Everything's not going to go the way you want it to go each and every day. So it was just a blessing to, get coached by BK and then get coached by Coach Wilson and love him to death. And honestly, I was just trying to keep the main thing.
So is Barry and Brown talking about going through the coaching change. Garrett Nussmeier today also was asked about Brian Kelly and the coaching change. All right, I don't know why we're not able to get that audio, but you can check it out. It is on social media at 104.5 ESPN on Twitter or on Instagram as well, Facebook, if you want to check it out there. It is After Further Review. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. It's WilliamsonEye.com. You want to see 2020, call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. They're the best over at the Williamson Eye Center. Dr. Blake Williamson, I tell you often, he travels all over the world. Lecturing and teaching at different conferences, because he has brought some of the foremost procedures in ophthalmology right here in Baton Rouge. It's why people come from all over the region to have their refractive procedure done at the Williamson Eye Center. They got a state-of-the-art dry eye center. If you're not familiar with the Williamson Eye Center, you need to be. WilliamsonEye.com, WilliamsonEye.com. I always encourage you, just set up that consultation. Even if you've been told in the past you're not a candidate for LASIK or whatever refractive procedure, ophthalmology has grown and advanced so much over the years, and Dr. Blake Williamson at the Williamson Eye Center is at the forefront of that. So start with that free consultation. Just find out what options are out there. They can tell you more about your options. Then you can meet with Dr. Blake. 924-2020, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. Jeff Duncan's going to be here in 7 minutes from right now. Kind of has a piece up today where he talks about how the Saints might be able to follow the blueprint team like the Patriots did back to relevance. So we'll get to that. And I think Jeff Duncan also is a Pro Football Hall of Fame voter. I've seen him on a list of voters, but I'll confirm that with Jeff, and then I'll get his take. I doubt very seriously that he is at liberty to speak about the process and the voting and all that sort of stuff, but to whatever degree he can offer anything about the Bill Belichick situation, I'll ask him. And, the other thing that's interesting is because, Bill Polian is sort of at the center of all this Belichick conversation. Earlier today, Bill Polian said on the record that he can't remember if he voted for Bill Belichick. He said he's 95% sure that he is, but he can't say for certain that he did. And he also denied being the one advocating against Belichick being in as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Somebody lying. I don't know who, but I think the collective outrage is fascinating because Bill Belichick is not a sympathetic figure. Most people, I think, have vilified Belichick, don't necessarily like him, but everyone is unanimously backing him in this situation, which is so odd to see. Anyway, we'll ask Jeff Duncan about that coming up after the top of the hour. All right, we're glad you're here. Stick around. SportsCenter's coming up. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. Love telling you about our friends over at Parish Restoration because, especially after a weekend like we had last weekend where it was so rainy, a lot of people, maybe you had water intrusion. And if you need restoration or remediation work, they can help. If it's mold remediation or if you need restoration after water intrusion from a storm, our friends over at Parish Restoration can help. Jim Woodwork and the gang, they do an awesome job. Maybe it's not after a storm. Maybe you got odor maybe you bought a house that has pet odor. Or maybe it's a workout facility that just has bad odor from sweat. Maybe you need to sanitize your home, office building, church, school. Flu is spread. They can come and spray and kill everything down to the spores. It's Parish Restoration. It's more cost effective. It's more efficient. It's parishrestoration.com.